Jamie Staples from Team PokerStars Pro Online. Still 5 players remaining. What is happening here? We've played 45 minutes of this level, no eliminations.
Hey, Jamie, if you want to spend some more time in the booth, try not to disagree with me so much, huh? Get out of here. He's pretty good.
So you bluff.
Brian Kaufman playing passive when he's got it, aggressive when he doesn't, and it's working out every time for him.
Very curious play at this 5-handed final table. Yes, that's right, still 5-handed. Only 1 elimination so far. Usman Siddiqui went out in 6th place during the first session of the day. Everyone pretty evenly matched in chips. No one taking any big risks, no one making any bold moves, apart from Kaufman on that last hand. Well, here Petkov is open in first position. He's raised to 625,000 with ace-deuce of clubs. Sorensen's got a pair of 7s, and now we can welcome back to the booth Daniel Negreanu from Team PokerStars Pro. Daniel, you've had a chance to see some of the action over the course of the last 45 minutes?
Absolutely amazing that we're still 5-handed at this stage of the tournament with the stack sizes the way that they are. Pretty remarkable and unusual, to say the least.
James, if this goes another level, and then there's another hand dealt out with like 4 pocket pairs, we could see a Canada Cup style ending to this tournament.
A 4-way all-in?
Yeah.
Well, we talked earlier on about the fact that it's unusual to see deal negotiations 5-way at a main event final table, but if we get to a situation where like everyone's sitting there with 20 bigs, they may well start looking at the numbers.
Daniel, I know you don't do deals. Would you, if you got to a situation where everyone had 10 big blinds?
Yeah, no, I personally wouldn't make a deal, and I think that actually would favor me because I would be playing a little bit more freely in terms of not caring about laddering. It can give me, you know, I'm looking to win. I'm not really too concerned with the money, so it would just increase my chances to win if everyone else had 10 big blinds and I did too, and they were all doing the quote-unquote smart thing of being focused on money. I've never cared about money, even when I had none. True story.
Well, the 3-bet from Sorensen, the re-raise with the 7s gets a fold from Petkov. Sorensen back out in front. He is from Lund in Sweden. We've mentioned a few times that he works in a warehouse. And can you believe this is only his 2nd live tournament ever, and he has locked up nearly 320,000 euros.
That's amazing. Also, one thing I noticed in the last hour, I don't know if it's for luck or whatever, but he went back to the man bun. Did you guys notice that?
I hadn't noticed.
He went back to man bun. Could be a luck thing. You know, he's got the scarf. A lot of people in America do the rally cap. You turn the baseball hat backwards.
Sure.
Yeah, could be a thing. I don't know.
Maybe it's just to wake him up, you know, get all that air back there.
Get the blood flowing up there in the cranium.
So action on Andre Akari. Starts the hand with 25 big blinds. He's going to raise to 650,000. Andre has 8-10 of diamonds.
Well, 5-handed, I like the play. You know, you want to be, you know, pushing the envelope a little bit and forcing your opponents to pick up a hand. Otherwise, you know, you're picking up big, important pots. And Andre right now being in last place, he can afford to open it up a little bit and take some more risks.
Queen, Jack of Hearts for Raffaele Sorrentino.
So Sorrentino in the small blind, never going to love being up against an under-the-gun raise. The hand is pretty strong 5-handed to at least see a flop with. What's dangerous is, you know, sometimes you think, okay, do I re-raise with this? And what if my opponent has something and I'm, you know, in bad shape? But I kind of like the call. Stapes actually mentioned this earlier. The problem with it is your opponent kind of knows what range you're in, and you're exactly in that range of hands.
Woo. 8-7-7.
So another good flop for Andre Akari. Sorrentino completely whiffs. No heart, no jack, no queen, no straight draw. If Andre bets this flop, I don't see Sorrentino continuing. It was checked. Andre checked. That's a little bit surprising. Now, all of a sudden, Sorrentino's picked up an inside straight draw. He can get you 10. As for Andre, wow, that's a good card for him as well because he's got a 4-card straight, flush, and the pair of 8s. So he's got the best hand with a straight flush draw.
What's not to like? He is a 9-1 favorite to win this pot. So with the action going check, check on the flop, Sorrentino is going to lead the turn.
So I like this lead a lot from Sorrentino because when he calls from the small blind, some of the hand combos looks like 9-10 suited, 10-jack suited, 8-9 suited, a lot of those types of hands that look like they hit that board. So
325,000 and a quick call from Andre.
Yeah, well, Andre's not going anywhere with the hand that he has right here. Wow.
9 on the river.
So that's not a great card for Andre right now. I mean, Sorrentino was kind of repping like a 9 or 10-jack. If he bets here, Andre's in a tough spot. And Sorrentino knows now he cannot win unless he bluffs this pot. Question is, will it work?
At the worst, you feel like you got the whole world on the turn. And in the river, you're like, oh, my hand's not that good anymore.
Well, it looks like Sorrentino's definitely thinking about going heavy. He's betting 1.1 million, it looks like.
Correct.
Well, we've already seen Andre make one big laydown. We saw him fold the best hand to Brian Kaufman. Is he going to find a call here?
Well, Andre's got to go through all the possibilities, right? So he doesn't beat 10-jack. Well, he's got a 10 in his hand. It makes it a little less likely. He doesn't beat 9-10. Well, the 10 also blocks that as well. The flush got there, though. So any 2 spades, it's, you know, Andre really only beats a bluff right now.
Yeah,
and he knows that.
Brutal.
All I would say is that from Andre's perspective, Sorrentino is a player who's more likely to bluff river than a player like Brian Kaufman.
Sure, yeah. It's just difficult to find hands other than Queen Jack suited and King Jack suited and things like that that are not spades. It's hard to find a lot of hands that Sorrentino has as a bluff. What a call here from Andre.
Andre finds the hero call.
Wow, nice.
And steadies the ship, wins a big pot.
I'll tell you what. So everyone's going to look at Sorrentino and think, oh, he bluffed his chips off. I like the play. I think Sorrentino made a really good bet here. Sometimes you can't be results-oriented. You got to go for it. Sorrentino did that, represented the hand, and Andre made a really good call. You just have to take your hat off to him.
Nice bluff call, Andre Akari, back up to 32 big blinds. Sorrentino down to 20 big blinds.
Yeah, one of the tricky things about playing out of position, you know, you put yourself in tough spots, but I like the way Sorrentino played it, gotta say.
Daniel, at this point, with 43 big blinds being the biggest stack, 21 being the smallest, what can you do? Like, is there any maneuverability? Is there any?
Well, we just saw some, right? There's definitely maneuverability. There's,
it didn't
you know,
work.
Well, I mean, there was some play. You can definitely certainly continue to defend your big blind and play some flops. You know, it doesn't have to be raise all in, raise all in. There's still only one player under 30 big blinds right now, right? Which is Sorrentino at the moment.
Well, this is hand 43 of the final table. Sorensen with ace-jack raises under the gun to 650,000. Rounds the blinds. Watches our Petkov in the small blind with king deuce, folds.
Bye-bye.
Andre Akari in the big blind has ace king.
So this is going to be interesting here. Andre could, well, he's certainly not folding. He's just going to call? No, he's just calling.
Okay.
I think I would have re-raised here.
He's flopped 2 pair with ace king twice so far today.
Well, he's just been outflopped by Sorensen.
Ooh.
This is trouble for Andre because he does have the 2 overcards. He can catch a 10 for a straight. So he's probably going to at least have to continue to the turn. The question is, does Sorensen bet on the flop or wait, you know, with his middle pair?
Well, Andre has checked to him.
Looks like Sorensen's reaching for a bet. Wants to protect his jacks. You got to imagine Andre at least calling here on the flop. What?
775,000 is the size of Sorensen's continuation bet. And Andre Akari will call that bet, this hand going to the turn. We have a pot of 3.25 million, and there's the 10.
Didn't you feel it? It's like you could feel the 10. So that's a great card, of course, for Andre. He has what's known as the nuts.
Andre's got the nuts. Sorensen probably won't hate the 10 too much.
No, he'll hate the 10.
You think so?
Oh, he'll absolutely hate the 10. That's a really bad card for Sorensen's hand.
So just to clarify the percentages, Sorensen cannot win the pot outright. Akari is a 95% favorite to win it all. There is a 5% chance that they split the pot were a king to come on the river.
I think he's definitely going to hate the 10 now that Andre's led at it.
This is very interesting that Andre led. You know, you don't see this typically. You know, if the player checks and calls on the flop, usually on the turn they're going to check. Andre decides to do what's called, there's a term for it, they call it a donk bet, you know, betting into your opponent. And in this case, it makes a lot of sense here. If you put Sorensen on a hand that, you know, has like, you know, 2 pair combos, or maybe he's got ace queen, ace jack, he might check those hands back, but when you bet, he's probably going to call. So I like the play from Andre here, and it looks like Sorensen is at least curious.
I mean, it's the point I just made with Jamie a couple hands ago that nobody ever leads when they hit their card.
Well, you got to ask yourself, like, what is he leading with? Like, what bluffs do I beat now if I'm Sorensen?
Sorensen calls.
What? One minute.
The thing about the way Andre Akari played this hand is because he didn't re-raise pre-flop, I'm pretty sure Sorensen thinks, well, he doesn't have ace-king, right? So he kind of eliminates ace-king as part of the hands that he's up against, which makes it a little easier to call.
That's why I didn't assume he would hate the 10 that much, but you're right. He probably, you know, he's not unaware of what can beat him now.
5.8 million in the middle. The board pairs on the river. Akari has a lock on this.
Yeah, well, so, but Akari went from the nuts, you know, the best possible hand, to now he doesn't know for sure. He's got to be worried about that 10, because now if Sorensen has jack 10, queen 10, pocket jacks, or pocket queens, he just lost. So the question is, does he check here out of fear or try to get some value from Sorensen?
He's checked. Now Sorensen has a hand, jacks and tens. He's got a piece of this, but again, there's a lot for him to be worried about. Is there any point in him betting here, Daniel, or should he just check it back and see if his hand is good?
The only logic behind him betting right now is this. He knows, let's say, for example, Andre doesn't have a full house. He doesn't think he has a straight, so maybe he thinks he's got a queen, right? He can't beat a queen. So he may decide, you know what, I'll bet my jack and try to bluff him off a queen.
It's one better hand he can get to fold.
Instead, he checks it back, tries to take the value of his jack, but it's no good. Andre has Broadway, the straight 10 to ace, and Andre Akari wins another huge pot to retake the chip lead at this final table.
That was like 2 hands ago or so. Andre was in. It's just amazing how quickly the tide turns here. You win a pot, you're chip leader.
It would be an interesting graph to see. These 5 different lines swooping up and down, crossing over each other. Andre, ace-king, has been very good to him today, and I mean, what do you expect? He's got it in his last name twice.
Very true.
Nice little Omaha hand there.
Sorensen down to 10 million. Just over 30 big blinds and 15 minutes until the blinds go up. We will roll into level 35 when they go to 200, 400. Surely we're not going to get to the end of this level with 5 players at this table. Queen 10 of clubs for Brian Kaufman. And that is a call.
Well, you don't typically see that at the final table of a major championship, a limp here with the stack sizes that, you know, are present behind him. I don't hate it. I think it's kind of interesting. It's one of those things where if you really know what you're doing post-flop and feel comfortable in your post-flop skills, there can be some merit to it.
Okay, well, we've only caught one of Raffaele Sorrentino's hole cards. We know he has the king of spades. He calls as well. Petkov is out. We've got ourselves a mini sweat with here, Daniel.
Yeah. Well, let's start by eliminating cards we know he doesn't probably have, right? He probably doesn't have an ace, or probably doesn't have a king. Doesn't look like he has a queen because there's 2 queens gone. So it's looking like Sorrentino has king jack or king 9 suited or something like that.
Sorensen with a pair in the big blind, pocket sixes.
There's no point to get going nuts here, right, with your 6s, Daniel?
Well, I mean, it's not a terrible spot to just say all in if you don't. Basically, now's when you want to use your reading skills and say, okay, did that guy who limped under the gun, Kaufman, is he limping with a really strong hand? And if you know he's not, you can do this with any 2 cards and just go boom, take what's there. You had an option to take a flop, try to flop a set, and you know, win a big pot that way, but he sees the value in picking up what's in the middle already, and you can't fault him for doing that with a pair dealt.
How much?
He's raised to $1 million. Kaufman looks perplexed.
One of the tricky things about limping is, you know, typically when you limp, you're gonna have to call, and now you're forced into a pot that's pretty sizable.
So Kaufman has called with the Queen 10 suited. Sorrentino with his king.
So as my guess is Sorrentino has King Jack or King 9 of spades. Those 2 hands would be the most likely. Again, we know it's not kings. We know it's not ace king. He would have raised with those hands. So now he's just looking at the situation saying, okay, I'm in position. There's a lot of money out there. Do I want to take a flop and you know, try to hit what I'm drawing to?
What are the chances that Andre somehow puts in another raise after you call here? You're not too worried about that?
No, that's a non-thought. Like, he's not gonna. That's just like next level.
He's
I've never seen
basically
that in my
closing
life.
the action. Then.
Sure, with just the big blind left. If you had a big hand in your Andre, you're always going to raise there. Yeah, I think Sorrentino has King 9 of spades and is just concerned about, you know, hitting a flop that might cost him his entire tournament.
Well, Sorrentino has called. Andre Akari decided to fold the Queen 5. So 3 players going to the flop.
$3.5 million in the middle.
That flop is Jack 4 deuce.
One of the hands we thought was possible for Sorrentino was King Jack. It's still a possibility.
Sorensen, who raised it pre-flop, has decided to check. Kaufman has a couple of backdoor draws. Running cards could see him improve to a straight or a flush. But right now he's just got Queen High.
Yeah, if I'm Sorensen there and I raise before the flop with the 6s, I look at that flop and I think it's a pretty good flop. 2 cards lower than a 6. I'm probably going to bet here. And, you know, I mean, they don't know that I don't have aces or kings. Probably not going to raise me. And I'll find out a little bit more information about what my opponents have.
That's Kaufman firing.
Getting funky with his chicken. Sorrentino is folded.
So now if you're Sorensen, you just put yourself in a bad spot.
Yeah, I would much rather be the aggressor here.
Yeah. I think if you're Sorensen, you want to bet, especially with 2 players behind you. You don't really want any card to come off because if it's higher than a 6, you know, it could have hit your opponents and you're not going to know for sure. So, you know, this would be like a really weakly played post-flop hand to raise pre with the 6s in a spot where you're probably getting called a couple spots. If you were going to play it like this and check fold, you should have just checked before the flop because he wasn't going to get everyone to fold before the flop. Not with that sizing of just $1 million. This is just... I think he's going to throw it away, and I don't think this is a well-played hand from Sorensen. But kudos to Kaufman here for recognizing that he could represent that jack, and he's doing so. He also looks at, you know, I've got 10 jack queen of clubs. A lot of fun stuff could happen on the turn for me.
Again, though, I think if anyone's been paying attention to the way that Kaufman plays, I don't think he would have actually bet a jack here.
See, this is not good. Really not good. Okay, I mean, we're not supposed to be too critical, right? Sorensen, if you're going to raise pre-flop an amount that's probably going to get called in 2 spots, it comes jack deuce 4. You must c-bet this flop and take the initiative. Otherwise, just take the free flop. Don't raise before the flop at all.
Kaufman, chip leader once again with close to 14 million. This is a good opportunity to remind everyone of the competition we are running here on PokerStars TV. Your chance to win a W Coop satellite ticket by playing Real Money Poker on Stars. Basically, fire up a cash game, a Zoom game, or a spin and go. We want you to win a hand with these specific hole cards: Queen of Spades, Queen of Diamonds. Queen of Spades, Queen of Diamonds. And then we want you to send us evidence that you have done that. Send us a boom link or a screenshot with the hand ID and the hashtag PSC win. Do it before midnight tonight, and we'll put you into the draw. 5 winners will be drawn at random, and we'll get $55 WCOOP satellite tickets. All of our winners from across the last 5 days will go into a draw next week to win a PokerStars Championship Prague national event package worth €2,500. And we'll announce the winner of that package on the next episode of the Poker in the Ears podcast. Back to the action where there's been folds all around the table to Sorensen in the small blind, and he's now raised to 825,000 with 10-9.
Kaufman has one of the worst hands you can have with 8-3 and is thinking about what other than, well, I mean, fold and bluff. That's
yeah.
You don't call with this hand to try to, like, you know, play it for its value because it doesn't have very much value.
Hey, we saw somebody fold a big blind. I have not seen that too often at this table.
Well, 8-3
I
is
think he
one
called
of those that you should.
8 deuce suited before. Squish the fish. The dolphin scarf continues raking in chips. That reminds me of a really good joke that this girl I do stand up with in LA tells sometimes. Her name is Leah Kayajanian. She goes on stage and she says, so my last name's Kayajanian, but my Madden name is Dan Marino.
I get it. I understand the joke.
Petkov with ace-10 here.
Is that a bad reaction when someone says, oh, yes, I understand the joke you just told
You know,
me?
luckily it wasn't my joke, but
Right.
not that precious about it.
Ha.
13-4. 13.
So Petkov has raised. Andre Akari has king-3 of hearts. And he has decided to re-raise.
So this is an aggressive play from Andre here. You know, he's turning this king-3 of hearts into a bluff, trying to represent a strong hand, hopefully taking advantage of Petkov. Maybe he's got a read that Petkov isn't that strong. And if you're Petkov sitting there with ace-10 and you've just been re-raised, your first instinct should be to just, like, get away, fold. Now, you're playing at a high level, maybe you think, you know what, though? I think Andre's messing around with me. This is where the poker gets fun.
It gets fun, but also, you know, it's stressful. It's probably more fun for you than most other people. I know that as an inexperienced player, you're deathly afraid of getting it, you know, 4-betting or getting it and ripping it in and then being dominated. And just being like, I'm
right.
dumb.
That's one of the great things about the type of hand Andre Akari's decided to 3-bet with is he's 3-betting this hand. If Petkov says all in, he's got an easy fold. You know, he doesn't have like ace-jack and he's going to say, oh, I don't know what to do. And this is easy. If he knows already he's 3-betting, that's it. He's not planning to call any more bets. If you're Petkov here, this hand doesn't play all that well post, so it's got to be a fold or a raise, and he takes the safe play and fold, so a good play from Akari to chip up and actually chip all the way up to the chip lead.
Still 5-handed. Huh. James, what is the average stack going to be in 3.5 minutes when the blinds go up?
Well,
Sorry to put you on the spot.
I'm going to get Daniel to do the math because it's not my expertise. So the average stack with 5 players remaining is 10 million. The blinds are going to 200, 400.
Cool. Oh, am I supposed to do the math? My brain is not in math mode right now.
Do you want me to get the calculator out? Oh, hold on a second. Sorrentino's all in. Andre Akari opened from under the gun with ace-3. Sorrentino.
Shortest stack. Ships it for about 15 big blinds. It's going to be a 25 big blind average unless someone goes broke on this or the next hand.
Well, I don't see Andre calling here. You know, for Sorrentino to move all in from the small blind, you got to put him on a strong range of hands. Either an ace with a good kicker, or a pocket pair. Against both those range of hands, you're an underdog. The only possible hand he could have where you're okay is if he had king queen exactly.
So Sorrentino's shove gets through.
He's still hovering around the 20 big blind mark, right?
I mean, he added 33% to his stack, though, from, just picking up that pot. That's how shallow we are right now. That's how big the blinds and antes are.
Yeah, Sorrentino with 20 big blinds, Petkov with around 25, Sorensen on 30, and then Akari and Kaufman pretty much tied with 45 big blinds each. 2 minutes until those blinds go up.
I would also like to address that if you're a new viewer, if you haven't watched one of these tournaments before, this is rare. This does not happen in our events. Like sometimes we'll be like a 40 big blind average for maybe a level till some people get knocked out.
Crazy.
For it to be this shallow.
And that's just the nature of how this tournament has been played. It took a long time yesterday to get down from 10. Sorry, to get down from 16 to 6. We had to lose 10 players. It took 12 and a half hours for that to happen. And the blinds have caught up.
As Daniel likes to say, this tournament is shallower than Vern Troyer's swimming pool.
Shit happens.
Well, we've seen a limp here from Sorensen under the gun with ace-4. Andre Akari has the same hand.
They both think it's aces. And an ace on the flop. Now we know if it gets to showdown, this is likely to be a chop, but I wonder if it gets there. Like the kind of bet a man with a man bun would make.
750,000 into $1 million. And Andre is calling. Turn card is the 7 of clubs, and you can see from the percentages, no one can now win this pot outright. Assuming it goes to showdown, they will split it 50-50.
Check, check.
River card is a 6. Both with 2 pairs, aces and 6, with an 8 kicker.
At this point, they're both pretty confident that someone probably doesn't have better than an 8 kicker if they also have an ace.
Andre bets the river.
8-7.
875,000.
That's a very convoluted way of me saying I think Sorensen will call here. Flush draw did come in. 6 is now beating him. This is really great for Andre if he can manage to win the pots he's supposed to be chopping. A little over 10% of his stack to call.
Counted out the call. Wow, could Andre really get him to fold? Could Andre really take him off a chop?
I think every decision is just worth so much real money. And obviously this is a pretty scary board.
Well, clock has officially ticked into level 35. The next hand will be the first hand at 200,000, 400,000 with a 50K ante.
All in.
2 minutes on this decision.
This is just such a side call, I think, most of the time, but with everyone being so short. Every pot, hugely important. There it is.
He makes the call. And for those of you who are new to PokerStars TV, there's something we like to sing in situations like this. It's a chop pot. And you know what they say? Everyone loves a chop pot.
And we thank you for joining us this one time on PokerStars.tv. Sorry we ruined it.
Let's go break.
Because it's 70 minutes.
Sorensen playing around 9 million. Andre Akari still the official chip leader with 13.3 million. So just to reiterate, level 35 is underway. Blinds are 200,000, 400,000 with a 50,000 ante. Just to put things into perspective, the chip leader, the big stack at the table, has 33 big blinds.
Second in chips at the table has 33 big blinds.
And then we have a 23 big blind stack, a 20 big blind stack, and a 15 big blind stack.
Very bizarre.
So we've just kicked off hand number 49. Action has been folded to Raffaele Sorrentino, and he has raised it to 800,000. Petkov has folded. Action now on Andre Akari in the small blind. Akari folds, so action now on Sebastian Sorensen. And looks like he's folded as well. Raise and take it for Sorrentino. Akari officially the chip leader. Sorrentino still the short stack at the table. 5 players, I didn't think I'd be saying that, 5 players competing for the title, the trophy, and the 1.4 million euro first prize.
Nobody's floated a deal yet, huh?
This is hand number 50 of the final table.
Petkov with a couple of Lady Kings.
Raising with the queens, no doubt. Sure enough.
Got 3 players to get through with these stack sizes. Players are going to start ripping it in with weaker and weaker hands. Don't think we're at the King 5 rip it in stage yet.
Now round to Brian Kaufman.
Give it another level, though.
In the big blind.
Well, we know he's got a 6.
Curiosity. Let's get Daniel Negreanu's opinion on this one. What's his kicker, Daniel? He's thinking about calling. Is this a pair of 6s? No, he's
It's
folded.
a deuce.
What a question. Yeah, it was another 6, yeah.
Daniel had to bounce out for a second because I opened a soda near him.
What'd you do, a light soda?
Well, it's what they call diet soda here.
So the next break in the tournament will be in 52 minutes.
Can we make it to the next break without losing a player? That's the question.
Yes, we can.
I love it. I love it when stuff like this happens. Way out of the ordinary. Puts a whole new dynamic on things. Kaufman, 7-6 suited in the small blind.
Looks like he's just limping in. I mean, at this point, if I'm Sorrentino against the limp and I have an ace, I have one move. All of it. Yep.
There it is.
All you can eat.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Kaufman folds.
I think if there's one player at the table most likely to be moving in like that, it's Sorrentino right now. So Kaufman has to be a little careful about how he plays small blinds. His limps are going to get attacked by a wide range of hands. So with a hand like 6-7 suited, it wouldn't have been crazy for him to go ahead and go all in first and put the pressure on Sorrentino. Sure, it's only 6-7 suited, but even if you're up against ace-king, you're still going to win 40-odd% of the time.
Sorrentino being railed by Mustafa Canet. We see him there in the front row in the grey and white t-shirt. Canet, a very accomplished player with a lot of success in the high roller tournaments on the tour, and Canet did act at one stage as Sorrentino's coach and mentor.
One of the newest, most successful members on the tour.
That's true. Robert gets in touch on Twitter, #PokerStarsTV. Hey, I'm teaching my girlfriend how to play poker. Would you guys say hi to Christina? A shout out for Christina Jones?
So he wants me to be like, hey, Christina.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hi, Christina.
Yeah, that's basically what he wants us to do.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do
Okay.
that. Daniel's not doing it either.
Nope.
Kaufman with King 8 on the button.
Daniel was about to ask for a picture and then thought better of it.
You're in my head, Joe.
We're cut from the same cloth in many areas, my
boy.
friend.
You've never returned my underwear, have you? That you
No, because I
borrowed?
use that gag
Yeah.
every event I go to. I'm just the soda drinking version of Daniel.
So that hand, raise and take it for Kaufman.
So one of the key interesting thoughts to have about a tournament getting to the stage the way that it is,
Yes.
right? Typically, picking up lines and antes is whatever, right? It's good, but it's not that great. Now, it's crucial. It literally, one blind steal moves you from like 4th to 2nd. I mean, they're that close. Each round costing so many chips. If you fold away 2 straight rounds, you've just lost like, maybe 25% of your stack, which is a lot at this stage.
I mean, there's so few big blinds in play, and if you break that down up against the money that's left to play for, each of these big blinds is worth thousands and thousands of euros.
Just to remind you of the money jumps, with 5 players remaining, everyone has locked up 317,960 euros. But if you can survive to 4th place, you get paid more than 400,000, more than $500,000 for second, nearly 800K for the runner-up, and 1.4 million to the winner.
There's like 120 big blinds total in play right now. So even if they went to heads up, that's a 60 big blind average.
I'll see. I got it.
Petkov with an ace in the small blind.
And that, you know what? That's all we really need to see. He's got 19 big blinds. He could play this hand just looking at one card.
He elects to just call. And Akari will see a free flop with 6 deuce in the big blind.
Daniel, when blinds and antes are so important.
Yeah. The level of aggression overall has been quite low. I mean, a lot of it likely has to do with just laddering up. At this point, you're looking at about 85,000 euro increase for, one player going out. And clearly, I think that's had an effect on the play and the fact that there's still 5 remaining.
Do you think I don't know for sure, right? But I assume that I think that I would have gotten in a lot more than these guys have here because I don't think I'm that good of a player. So I'm going to be moving all in more, like from that position.
Yeah,
Look at an
actually,
ace in the small blind.
I think if you were a really good player, you'd be doing it because it's the correct play.
Okay.
Like, yeah, so poker's an interesting game. It's like if you think of any sport. Think of like American football. So if the defense is covering the pass, well, you throw. Well, if they're all covering the throw, you pass. So if the table is playing too tight, you open up. If the table is too crazy and wild, you tighten up. So the case here has been clear that, the play's been relatively tight. We've seen Andre try to mix it up there with the 10-8 suited, 3-betting with King 3 of hearts. He's definitely getting involved. Sorrentino's another one. But otherwise, the play's been much on the safer side, to say the least.
Like, do you limp there with an ace? Sometimes do you think, not you, but a person, because they think they can outplay someone post-flop?
Yeah, for me, what I typically look at is, like, how big of an edge do I think I have over my opponents at the table? If I think it's very large, then I won't take much risk. Whereas if I think, I have a lot of respect for my opponents, they're all good, I'm going to, if I get an ace, I'm going, wee, let's do it.
There's an all-in from Sorrentino.
All right.
Shoving for 7 million with pocket eights.
Snowmen's.
Ooh, Petkov here, folding King Jack quickly on the button.
Holding paint.
7,300,000.
Sorensen with King Jack in the big blind.
Well, we know he's going to be missing a few outs if he calls.
So here's the interesting thing, right? If Sorrentino realizes that these guys are folding hands like King Jack on the button, then he should be opening a lot, right? Sorensen at least thinking about this one. This is not an easy decision, and he's going to throw it away. Imagine this: if Sorrentino goes all in, 3 hands in a row, nobody calls. He's just won a boatload of chips.
Yeah,
he's won
he's like
2.6 million in chips.
He's overwhelming chip leader, and everyone else is under 20 big blinds.
So here is Sorrentino's biography. 37 years old, currently lives in Malta. Live earnings of $1 million, and most of that came from his win in Monte Carlo earlier this year. He took down the PokerStars Championship for 466,000 euros. Hand 55 with 5 players. 45 minutes left on the level.
So you wonder if you ran this, right, just for fun. If you took a robot, put him at this table and said, listen, go all in every single hand, blind, how would he do? He's probably going to do okay, considering the way the player's playing. Obviously, it's an extreme example, hypothetical. But aggression, I think, at this stage is going to really favor the bold.
Sorensen with 7-5.
So now we see him trying to push around Kaufman here with a raise with a really bad hand, 7-5 offsuit. Just hoping to steal it, and Kaufman having a worse hand than that.
Which he will throw away.
Deja ni uno, Deja ni uno.
Sorensen currently squeezed in the middle. Kari and Kaufman have the biggest stacks, 30 big blinds each.
It's hard to even say biggest, because they're all about the same, essentially.
Yeah, Petkov and Sorrentino with around 20 big blinds each. Sorrentino officially the shortest stack at the table. But as the blinds go up, Daniel, this can't continue. It forces the tournament towards a conclusion.
Well, you would think so, but, we would have thought so 2 hours ago that he was a player. The blinds are so high at this point.
Yes.
It's, making it 255 obviously makes a difference, but not that much at this point. We're going to have to see some fireworks and, have some spread in terms of the chip counts. Eliminate a couple players.
Kaufman with the ace-6 in the small blind.
Well, Sorrentino has 18 big blinds, so all in is fine.
Yeah.
It's considered like mathematically correct to do this.
Kaufman shoves
get called.
All in to call, and Sorrentino does call, and he's in a great position here Ace-Queen dominates Ace-6.
That was pretty unlucky for Kaufman. Moving all in there is the right play. He's not going to get called by very many hands. Now he's in bad shape. As you see there, it says just 18% for him to win, 6% to split. So good opportunity for Sorrentino to double up.
Sorrentino, a 3-1 favorite with 5 cards to come. Looking to keep that 2-time dream alive. Looking to win his 2nd main event title in just a few months. The flop is King 10-7, Ace-Queen still ahead.
It's a good flop for Sorrentino. Kaufman's going to need to catch a 6. There's no real way to, well, I mean, there are a couple ways to chop it, but it's not very likely.
Sorrentino humming to himself, looking to fade a 6. Well, that does bring up some chop opportunities, Daniel.
That's right. Now if the river comes a 10 or a king, they would split the pot with 2 pair and an ace kicker. Kaufman looking for a king, 10, or a 6.
The river is a 9, and that means Ace-Queen holds, and that means Raffaele Sorrentino doubles up through Brian Kaufman, and we get the big switcheroo. Sorrentino now the big stack with 38 big blinds. Kaufman now in the danger zone with just 11 bigs.
Yeah, I'm going to call them all danger zone because everyone's in trouble in terms of count, but obviously a little more breathing room now for Sorrentino. Doubling up here, taking a lead. Should open up the opportunity for him to apply a little pressure. If you're Kaufman, you realize now, okay, I've fallen behind the curve. I need to continue to, play aggressive. He didn't make a mistake there. The A6 was the right play. Just unlucky to run into a better hand, but he needs to keep the aggression up. He doesn't have a lot of time to wait. He can't really wait anyone else out. They've all sort of stretched past him in terms of chips now.
So Sorrentino, the man who is aiming for his 2nd PokerStars Championship main event title in just a few months, is now back in command of this final table. No one is that deep stacked. No one is guaranteed success here, but Sorrentino has shown he's got the moves, he's got the skills, and he currently has the biggest stack of the 5 remaining players. Kaufman at risk with just 10 big blinds. Petkov and Sorensen with around 20 big blinds each, and Andre Akari, the last remaining member of Team PokerStars Pro, currently 2nd in chips with a 30 big blind stack.